What if the greatest battle you'll ever fight isn't out there in the world, but within your own mind? What if real strength doesn't roar, doesn't flex, doesn't shout, but whispers in moments of stillness? And what if the approval you keep chasing has been a distraction from the quiet power that's been inside you all along? Let me tell you something that might change the way you see success. The greatest victory you'll ever achieve won't come from applause, trophies, or admiration from others. It happens quietly, in the invisible moment, when you no longer crave validation, when you stop running after the world's approval and finally realize that the only strength that truly matters is already within you. It's not loud. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't demand a stage. But this strength, the one deep inside you, is untouchable. And it's the kind of power that doesn't just help you survive. It helps you transform. This is the kind of strength that won't fade with trends, fame, or time. It's not about being seen. It's about staying solid, grounded, and resilient, even when no one is watching. So the question is, are you ready to rediscover this power? The one that's been quietly waiting within you all along? Let's begin with what it truly means to be strong. Understanding true strength. We often confuse strength with physical might or the loudest voice in the room. But real strength, it's something else entirely. It's invisible, it's internal. It doesn't need to prove itself to anyone. True strength is the quiet resilience that rises when you face your challenges head-on, without flinching, especially when no one's there to cheer you on. It doesn't show up in muscles or dominance. It shows up in your ability to endure, to stay centered, and to keep moving forward through chaos, pain, and uncertainty. Real strength is born from control. Control over your thoughts, your emotions, and how you choose to respond, even when everything around you is falling apart. It's not about defeating others. It's about never allowing life to defeat you. So what does that kind of strength look like? It's staying calm when the storm hits. It's remaining steady when the world wobbles. It's the unshakable belief that no matter what happens, you are still the one steering your own destiny. The power of the mind. Every battle you will ever face begins and ends within the mind. Most people believe their fate is controlled by the outside world. They think happiness, success, even inner peace depends on their environment. But that's the biggest illusion of all. The truth is, your mind is the real battlefield. It's not your circumstances that define your life. It's the way you see those circumstances, the thoughts you choose to dwell on, and how you respond in the face of adversity. Your perception shapes your reality. Everything you experience, from your greatest victories to your darkest moments, begins in your mind. The outside world may be messy, unpredictable, and out of your control. But your mind, that's your domain. You can't always change what happens to you, but you can always choose how you respond to it. And that choice, it makes all the difference. Think about it. How many times have you faced something difficult and your mindset either pushed you forward or held you back? In every moment, your mind can either empower you or sabotage you. So which will it be? Let's explore this further, because next we'll dive deeper into how mastering your mind opens the door to true freedom. When you begin to master your mind, everything starts to shift. Because once you realize that your power lies not in what happens to you, but in how you respond, you stop being a victim of your circumstances. This is one of the core teachings of Stoicism. External events don't define your happiness, your worth, or your success. What truly defines you is your response. You might not be able to control the storm, but you can always control how you stand in the rain. Your inner dialogue, what you tell yourself about what's happening, is far more powerful than the event itself. And the mind, when disciplined, becomes a fortress, unshaken by chaos, anchored in clarity. This is the real strength, not the absence of struggle, but the ability to stay composed during the struggle. Not the escape from hardship, but the calm endurance within it. If you look closely at the most resilient, successful people in history, you'll see a pattern. They didn't have flawless lives. What set them apart was their ability to remain grounded, focused, and mentally strong, even in moments of deep despair. They didn't just survive hardship, they transformed through it. Now ask yourself honestly, are you the one in control of your thoughts, or are your thoughts controlling you? Do your emotions shape your reactions, or are you learning to lead them instead? The truth is, when you gain control over your thoughts, your beliefs, and your emotional responses, you become unstoppable. That's the core of your strength. Your ayur, mind, is your last line of defense. The one domain no one can touch and no one can steal, and that is exactly where your greatest power lives. Facing adversity with courage. Adversity is not an exception, it's a guarantee. No matter how carefully you plan or how hard you try to avoid it, difficulty will find its way into your life. Everyone gets knocked down. Everyone fails. Everyone encounters moments that test their confidence, their direction, even their sense of identity. But what truly defines your character isn't whether you encounter adversity, it's how you respond to it. The Stoics understood this well. Life is unpredictable, painful, chaotic, but the chaos isn't what breaks us, it's our response that shapes us. Courage, contrary to popular belief, doesn't mean being fearless. It means feeling the fear and showing up anyway. It's standing tall even when your legs are trembling. It's choosing to move forward when everything in you wants to run. Real courage isn't always loud. It's not always dramatic. Often it's quiet, personal, invisible to others. It's the decision to keep going when no one's watching, when the only thing pushing you forward is your will. Every challenge, every hardship that shows up in your life is also an opportunity to test your limits, an opportunity to see who you really are when things aren't easy. Yes, fear will be there, fear of failing, fear of judgment, fear of losing what you've built. But true courage doesn't silence fear. It acknowledges it, and then acts despite it. Because courage isn't about the absence of fear. It's about choosing to take action, even when fear is standing right beside you. Think about the people you admire most, the ones who've inspired you, who've achieved greatness, who've made history. Did they walk easy paths? Or did they step forward again and again, even when it hurt? Their secret wasn't luck. It was the choice to be brave. And speaking of brave choices, next, let's explore how resilience, not just courage, becomes the foundation of lasting strength. The truth about courage is this: it's not the absence of fear, it's the refusal to be ruled by it. And as we've seen, adversity is the fire where that kind of courage is forged. Every great champion in history has faced moments where fear screamed louder than confidence. What set them apart wasn't that they were fearless, it was that they acted despite the fear. In those defining moments when everything in you whispers, "I can't do this," that's exactly when your strength is revealed. Courage isn't born during times of ease or comfort. It's created in pressure, in pain, and in the middle of storms you didn't choose. When life knocks you down, and it will, you always have two options. You can let the blow break you, or you can rise. You can rise with more clarity, more strength, and more resilience than before. And here's the truth the Stoics knew well. The more adversity you face, the stronger you become. Marcus Aurelius said it best. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. In other words, the very thing that blocks your path is also the thing that builds your path. Obstacles aren't enemies, they are teachers. Difficulties aren't the end. They are raw material. Your struggles don't have the power to defeat you unless you give them permission. Each painful moment, each setback, each overwhelming challenge is a chance to rise higher, a chance to become wiser, a chance to prove to yourself that you are, in fact, unbreakable. So, next time you're standing face to face with hardship, don't retreat. Don't shrink. Stand tall, plant your feet, and ask, what lesson is hiding here? How can I use this to build the strength that's been waiting within me? How can I transform this obstacle into fuel? Because the greatest warriors in life aren't those who never fall. They're the ones who fall again and again and rise stronger each time. That same power, it's in you. It always has been. Mastering emotions, but there's another battle, one that's quieter, more subtle, but just as critical, and it takes place within the arena of your emotions. Emotions are powerful. They can lift you to the highest peaks or drag you to the darkest depths. Modern society teaches you to chase happiness, run from sadness, indulge in pleasure, and avoid pain. But Stoic wisdom offers a different path, a wiser path. It's not about suppressing what you feel. It's not about pretending emotions don't exist. It's about mastering them. True inner strength is built when you stop letting emotions control you and start learning how to control them. Emotions are natural. They're part of what makes you human. But when they begin to dictate your actions, your words, or your thoughts, that's when you lose your power. Reacting impulsively, whether it's out of anger, fear, or jealousy, puts your peace in the hands of outside forces. And once that happens, you're no longer in control. The world is. But if you want to truly succeed, if you want to find lasting peace, you have to take back the reins from your emotions. Next, let's explore exactly how mastering your emotional responses sets you apart, and why it's one of the Stoics' greatest teachings. If mastering emotions gives you control over your inner world, then learning how to respond rather than react is where true power begins to emerge. Think about it for a moment. What happens when you let anger take the wheel? How often does fear cloud your judgment? And how many times has doubt held you back from something important? Every time you let an emotion take full control, you're handing over your power, bit by bit. You're letting something temporary shape your decisions, your behavior, even your future. But that changes the moment you learn to pause, to breathe, to choose your response on purpose instead of reacting on impulse. The Stoics didn't believe in running away from emotions or pretending they didn't exist. They taught that while we can't control what happens to us, we can control how we interpret it and how we respond to it. They didn't preach suppression. They taught awareness. Observe the emotion, understand where it comes from. Then decide rationally, calmly, what to do next. Emotional mastery doesn't mean being cold or robotic. It means being fully human, but in control. It's the difference between using your emotions as tools or letting them use you. So the next time you're triggered by a person, a problem, or a setback, pause and ask yourself, what's the wisest action I can take here? What response honors both my principles and the situation, regardless of how I feel right now? This is where your true strength lies, because you always have the power to choose. You can channel your emotions in a way that propels you forward, or you can let them pull you into a spiral of reaction and regret. Remember, emotions are like waves. They rise, they peak, and eventually they fall. They are temporary, but you are the surfer. You can learn to ride the wave, stay balanced, and navigate through it without being swept away. You are not your anger. You are not your fear. You are not your doubt. You are the one observing all of it. And when you master your emotions, you reclaim the most important form of freedom, your inner peace, your stability, your power. Embrace silence and stillness. And once you begin to master your inner world, there's a deeper practice that brings it all together. The quiet power of stillness. In today's world, a world that never stops spinning, silence is almost seen as strange. Everyone is chasing something, status, approval, results, recognition. But in that endless chase, we lose connection with what truly matters. There is immense strength in silence. Often, the loudest voices in the room are those who lack control over their own lives. But the quiet ones, the ones who know how to sit still, to reflect, to listen inwardly, they carry a power most people overlook. In Stoicism, silence isn't about escaping the world. It's about reconnecting with yourself. When everything around you is loud and fast, silence becomes a sanctuary, a space where your mind clears, where you can hear your own thoughts, where you can feel your emotions without judgment, where your decisions come from clarity, not chaos. While the modern world pushes constant movement, constant talking, constant stimulation, the most powerful moments are often the ones where everything is still. Let's go deeper into that, because next we'll uncover how stillness isn't just a refuge, but a strategic advantage in life. Stillness, as we explored, isn't just the absence of noise. It's a powerful act of turning inward. And in those quiet moments, something profound happens. Think about those rare, peaceful pauses in life. Maybe it's a silent morning walk, a moment sitting alone under the trees, or just a few deep breaths in a chaotic day. In those moments, you reconnect with yourself. You stop chasing likes, approval, or praise. You stop performing for the world. And for once, you listen, not to the noise outside, but to the one voice that truly matters. Your own. Silence gives you space to reflect. When you're quiet, you can see your thoughts more clearly. You can question what you believe. You can examine what's truly driving your actions. But none of that is possible in constant noise. Clarity doesn't live in chaos. When you give yourself permission to step into silence, you allow your mind to reset. It clears away the clutter. It sharpens your focus. And most importantly, it brings you back to what really matters. Stillness isn't about avoiding life. It's about no longer letting life control you. In those moments of calm, you're not hiding. You're choosing to focus inward. You're choosing to center yourself, reconnect with your strength, and move with clarity rather than confusion. That's the kind of power no one can give you, and no one can take away. When you can sit in silence without feeling the urge to distract yourself. When you can stand still in the middle of life's storms without being shaken, that's when you've begun to master your mind. So next time the world feels like it's too much, don't rush forward blindly. Pause, step back, find a pocket of silence, even for just a few minutes. Let the noise fall away and allow stillness to restore your sense of balance, focus, and strength. Because the world will always be loud. But your power, it's found in the quiet. The role of discipline and consistency, and once you've found your inner stillness, there's another force that turns your clarity into lasting transformation. Discipline. Discipline is the unsung hero behind every true achievement. It's not flashy. It doesn't beg for recognition. But it's the quiet force that turns dreams into reality, one consistent action at a time. Everyone feels motivated sometimes. We all have those moments when inspiration strikes, when we feel unstoppable. But here's the truth. Motivation is like a spark. It burns hot and fast, and then it fades. That's when discipline steps in. Discipline isn't about chasing high energy or waiting for the perfect mood. It's about creating a way of life, one that's grounded in consistency, structure, and self-control. Even when you're exhausted, even when you don't feel like it, even when no one is watching. Discipline is what gets you out of bed when the alarm goes off. It's what keeps you working when your body says, rest, and your mind says, quit. It's what keeps your goals in sharp focus, even while the world around you is filled with distractions. Think of discipline like a muscle. At first, it's weak. It resists you, it's uncomfortable, and easy to ignore. But the more you train it day after day, it grows stronger. It becomes sharper, more reliable, more natural, and in time, it becomes your foundation. In the next section, we'll dive deeper into how this disciplined consistency becomes the engine behind real, long-term change. As we saw, discipline is the quiet force that moves you forward when motivation fades. But more than just a mindset, it becomes a way of living. And it's that consistent action that carries you through whatever life throws your way. The real key? Repetition. Not once in a while, not when it's convenient, but daily, quietly, relentlessly. It's the small, simple actions you choose to take day after day that form the foundation of your long-term success. Whether it's 5 minutes of focused breathing, writing in a journal, or showing up for your goal with quiet determination, those tiny repeated efforts are what shape your life. And here's the beauty of it. Discipline doesn't require you to feel inspired. It doesn't rely on your mood. It simply requires commitment. The Stoics understood this better than anyone. They were masters of discipline, not because they were superhuman, but because they understood the immense power of consistent practice. They didn't wait for ideal conditions. They didn't depend on perfect timing or external motivation. Instead, they wrote daily, reflected daily, practiced their virtues every single day, no matter what was happening around them. Their goal wasn't overnight success or instant peace. It was long-term transformation, and they knew that could only be built through repeated effort and inner alignment. In a world where everything is in constant flux, where today's wins can vanish by tomorrow, consistency becomes your anchor. It keeps you grounded. It keeps you focused. It keeps you growing, even when everything around you is shifting. Think about it. If you keep waiting for the perfect time, if you keep waiting for the stars to align, the calendar to clear, or your feelings to cooperate, you might never move. The people who make real progress, the ones who quietly win, aren't necessarily the most talented or the most confident. They're simply the ones who show up every single day. Let's break it down. Maybe you want to improve your health. Maybe you want to grow your business, or maybe you're working on strengthening your relationships. These goals can feel overwhelming. But the secret isn't in dramatic life-changing moves. It's in the small intentional steps. Wake up a little earlier. Exercise for 20 minutes. Read a few pages of a good book. Reflect for 5 minutes in silence. Send that one message. Make that one call. Take that one step. Do that every day. And soon, those small steps will become a massive leap forward. Discipline also does something else. It builds resilience. Because when things get hard, and they will, your discipline will keep you moving. Anyone can feel motivated when the path is easy, but your true strength is revealed when the path becomes steep, when you've been knocked down, when quitting feels easier than continuing. That's when discipline steps in, not loudly but firmly. It's the steady hand that lifts you up, the inner voice that says, keep going. And that, more than anything else, is what turns failure into fuel. In the next section, we'll explore how this foundation of discipline connects with one of the most powerful Stoic principles of all, living with purpose and intention. Discipline, as we've just seen, is what moves you forward when everything else fades. But the deeper gift of discipline is that it teaches you to act without waiting, to push forward, even in the absence of motivation. And that's where the real transformation begins. Most people wait. They wait for motivation, for the right mood, for the perfect timing, for things to feel right. But here's the truth. If you keep waiting for the ideal moment, you'll stay stuck. What they don't realize is this: you don't have to wait for the right conditions. You can create them. Motivation comes and goes like the wind, but discipline is the anchor that holds firm when everything else is drifting. True inner strength doesn't come from occasional bursts of energy or emotion. It comes from your ability to keep showing up, even when you feel tired, uninspired, uncertain, or uncomfortable. You don't need to feel ready to take action. You just need to make your actions non-negotiable. To train yourself to show up not because you feel like it, but because you said you would. To make discipline your default mode. To keep walking the path, especially when it feels uncertain. So here's a challenge. Pick one area of your life, just one, where you can practice discipline daily. It could be your physical health. It could be reading, meditating, learning, or creating. It could be in the way you communicate, the way you lead, or the way you show up for your dreams. Start small, but stay consistent. Take action every single day, even when the step feels tiny, because over time, those small, intentional steps become something powerful. That's how real growth happens. That's how quiet transformation builds. That's how winners are made. Not in moments of noise or applause, but in the quiet, disciplined decisions made when no one's watching. Overcoming self-doubt. But even with discipline in place, there's a silent battle that many still face. It's invisible, it's subtle, but it can sabotage everything. That battle is self-doubt. Self-doubt is the quiet killer of potential. It whispers to you when you're on the edge of something important. It tells you you're not enough, that you're not ready, that you don't have what it takes, and it doesn't care how smart you are, how successful you've been, how much you've achieved. Doubt doesn't discriminate. It can creep into anyone's mind at any level. But here's what you need to remember. Self-doubt isn't truth. It's not a fact. It's not reality. It's a protective illusion created by your mind, designed to keep you safe, comfortable, and unchanged. It tells you not to risk, not to stretch, not to grow. It keeps you in the familiar, even if that familiar is holding you back. And the more you listen to that voice, the more it takes over. Each time you give in to it, you reinforce a false belief that you're not capable, that you're not worthy, that you're not enough. But that's the lie. That's not who you are. The Stoics believed in the power of reason and rational thought. They taught that most self-doubt comes not from truth, but from irrational beliefs, the fear that you can't handle adversity, that the future is out of your control, or that you somehow don't deserve success. But once you see those beliefs clearly, you can begin to dismantle them. And that's exactly what we'll explore next. How to replace self-doubt with clarity, and how Stoic thinking empowers you to reclaim your confidence from within. Previously, we uncovered how self-doubt is not truth, it's fear wearing a mask. And now comes the next step, choosing how you respond to it. The Stoics were clear on this. Those thoughts of inadequacy, hesitation, or fear, they're not reality. They're simply mental echoes of your own uncertainty. They're obstacles, but obstacles you have the power to face and overcome. When you start doubting yourself, it's rarely because you're truly incapable. It's usually because fear is warping your perception. Fear of failure, fear of being judged, fear of stepping into the unknown. But here's a shift in perspective that can change everything. What if self-doubt wasn't a stop sign, but a signal? What if it meant you're growing right now, that you're standing at the edge of something new, something uncomfortable, something transformative? In fact, doubt often shows up at the doorway of growth. It's usually loudest when you're stretching your limits, daring to evolve, and pushing into unfamiliar territory. Some of the most extraordinary accomplishments in history were born in moments when doubt screamed the loudest. And yet, the people who achieved those things didn't wait for doubt to vanish. They acted anyway. That's the Stoic approach. Action as the antidote. Don't wait until you feel ready. Take the step while doubt is still whispering. Because every time you move forward, despite the uncertainty, you weaken its grip, and with each act of courage you send yourself a powerful message. I can handle this. I am stronger than I think. I am in control. Self-doubt might never disappear entirely. It's part of being human. But it doesn't have to lead your life. You can learn to identify it, to challenge it, and most importantly, to move forward in spite of it. And here's what happens when you do. It gets quieter. The more you confront it, the less space it takes up, until one day you realize it no longer controls you. So the next time you hear that voice of doubt rise up inside, don't back down. See it for what it is, not a wall, but a door. An invitation to rise, to prove to yourself that you can, that you will, and that you already have the strength you need. Because once you do that, self-doubt loses its power. Building inner resilience, and that brings us to something even deeper, the foundation upon which lasting strength is built. Resilience. Resilience is quiet. It's not flashy. You won't see it on display in the good times, but it's the invisible force that helps you endure the storms. It's the power to keep standing when life hits hard, to keep breathing when things fall apart, to face hardship head on and emerge from it stronger than you were before. Let's explore what true resilience looks like and how to cultivate it. Next, resilience, as we just uncovered, is the quiet strength that carries you through chaos. It's not about avoiding pain, but learning how to rise above it, transformed. At its core, resilience is the ability to keep going, even when everything inside you wants to stop. It's the power to bend under pressure without breaking, to experience hardship, pain, and disappointment without letting those moments define who you are. It's falling flat and standing back up, not just once, but again and again and again, each time with more grit, more clarity, more determination. When life brings you to your knees, resilience is the voice that whispers, "You can rise again." The true difference between those who succeed and those who don't, it's not about avoiding difficulty, it's about withstanding it, navigating through the storm, learning from it, and emerging wiser on the other side. The Stoics knew this intimately. They didn't see hardship as a curse. They saw it as a teacher. Every obstacle, every setback, they welcomed it. Why? Because they understood a deeper truth. Adversity is the forge where inner strength is shaped. Seneca, one of the great Stoic minds, put it perfectly. Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor strengthens the body. It's not comfort that builds character. It's resistance. The struggle is what sculpts the soul, sharpens the will, and refines your core. But here's something important to remember. Resilience isn't automatic. It's not something you're born with. It's something you build day by day, thought by thought, choice by choice. And it all begins with a mindset shift. The first step to becoming resilient is accepting that life will be hard sometimes. You'll face losses, rejections, setbacks. There will be moments when giving up feels easier than going on, but in those moments, you get to decide. Who do you want to become? Will you be shaped by your struggles or defined by how you rise above them? To build resilience, you must reframe adversity. Don't see it as a threat. See it as an ally, a teacher, a forge. Every challenge you face is a mirror, reflecting what you're made of and what you're capable of becoming. So when life gets hard, ask yourself, what is this trying to teach me? How can I grow from this? How can this moment make me wiser, stronger, more prepared for the next? The Stoics didn't run from difficulty. They leaned into it. They trusted that the fire wasn't there to destroy them, but to temper them, because in the end, it's not the fall that defines you. It's how you rise that reveals your strength, and from here, we move into one final truth the Stoics held closely: how purpose and values serve as your compass when the world feels uncertain. When life knocks you down, as we explored, it's not the end of your story. It's the start of a new chapter. And in that chapter, you get to decide how the next part unfolds. Resilience isn't a one-time act of bravery. It's a way of living, It's the ongoing decision to rise, to keep going, to refuse to give up, especially when things feel like they're falling apart. It's easy to feel strong when life is going smoothly, when you're winning, when the road is clear. But the true test of resilience happens in the struggle, when nothing is going your way, when the world feels heavy and your motivation disappears. That's when resilience matters most, because real resilience is showing up even when you don't feel like it, even when every part of you wants to quit, to hide, to break. And here's the powerful truth. The more you practice resilience, the more natural it becomes. It starts to embed itself into who you are, not just something you do, but something you are. It becomes your default, your steady ground, a quiet force that whispers, no matter what happens, I'll keep going. And the more resilient you become, the less power your struggles have over you. Failures lose their sting. Setbacks lose their weight. Disappointments stop shaking your core. You stop fearing hard times. Instead, you welcome them as opportunities, moments to evolve, to strengthen your mind, to shape your soul. This is what makes you unshakable. Not because life gets easier, but because you get stronger. The beauty of resilience is that it not only makes you mentally and emotionally tougher, it also awakens something deeper, a realization of your untapped potential. You begin to see your strength. You feel it when you rise again after every fall. You trust it when you walk forward through the storm, and over time, you come to know, deep down, that there is nothing you cannot overcome, no obstacle too big, no challenge too great. So the next time life brings you to your knees, don't see it as the end. See it as the beginning of something new, something powerful, something only you can create. That moment becomes your choice. Will you let it break you? Or will you rise stronger, wiser, and more resilient than ever? The choice is always yours. And each time you choose resilience, you're building a foundation that nothing in this world can shake, because now you've uncovered the most important truth of all. You already possess the power you've been searching for. It's not out there. It's not in others' opinions. It's not in luck or timing or approval. It's within you, in the quiet, persistent strength that has always been there, waiting, the power to rise, to endure, to overcome. It's already inside you. So the only question that remains is, will you choose to unlock it? And now, as we reach the heart of this journey, let's reflect on the final principle that ties it all together. Mastering the mind as the source of your ultimate freedom and strength. You've now uncovered what it truly means to unlock your inner strength by mastering your thoughts, guiding your emotions, showing courage in adversity, and showing up with discipline and consistency even when no one is watching. You've learned that resilience doesn't mean avoiding pain. It means using pain as a stepping stone, a fuel source, a forge. And you've discovered that self-doubt isn't some immovable wall. It's only a shadow. And like all shadows, it disappears the moment you step into the light of action. So now the question becomes, what will you do next? Where will this knowledge take you? How will you begin to live out the strength you now know exists within you? It all begins with a single moment, a single choice. One decision to move forward. One small step in the direction of your growth. Choose to show up every day. Choose to take control of your thoughts. Choose to face life not with fear, but with the courage and calm resilience you've just awakened. And if this message resonates with something inside you, if it stirred even a flicker of clarity or conviction, don't let that feeling pass. Let's mark this moment. Say it to yourself. Say it out loud, or drop it in the comments. I choose strength. Because we are not here to be ruled by fear. We are not here to live small. We are here to rise, to live with purpose, with power, and with unshakable resolve. And as you continue walking this path, remember, the key to winning has never been external. It's never been in the noise, the applause, or the approval of others. The real power has always lived within you. So unlock it, embrace it, and watch how your entire life begins to transform from the inside out. Thank you for walking this journey of inner strength with me today. Stay strong, stay disciplined, and above all, always trust in the quiet, steady power that lives within you.